So, welcome back. Welcome back, viewers. So, today we have to study the components of innate immunity. You know that there are two types of immunity, innate immunity and acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. In adaptive immunity, we know that antibodies are involved and T cells are involved. In the innate immunity, we see that different proteins and barriers are involved, which are providing this general line of defense against pathogens, and which is non-specific. So we can say that the immunity is of innate immunity, that is non-specific immunity, and adaptive immunity, that is the specific immunity. So if we encounter the word non-specific immunity, it means innate immunity, and the specific immunity or acquired immunity or adaptive immunity, it means this adaptive immunity, that is specific immunity. So the components and their functions, which are associated with the innate immunity. And also we should keep in mind that these both innate and adaptive immunity, they will coordinate to achieve the goal, and the goal is defense against pathogens. So here we see that the components are these barriers. So these barriers are epithelial layers and defensins are cathelicidin intraepithelial lymphocytes and circulating circulating effector cells. And so the components are barriers, circulating effector cells, circulating effector proteins, and cytokines. And we should note cytokines are just like these hormones are the proteins which are secreted by these T cells and other types of these cells of immunity, which will control different functions, and they will help in the coordination, they will help in the proliferation of the cells, they will help in the signaling process. So the first are the component is the barriers, and in the barriers we see that these epithelial layers and skin and these anatomical barriers and defensins and intraepithelial lymphocytes. So epithelial layers prevent microbial entry, defensins are the proteins which help in defense and they help in the microbial killing, and intraepithelial lymphocytes which help in microbial killing. Then we come to the circulating effector cells, and in circulating effector cells, we see neutrophils, macrophages, and natural killer cells. In the neutrophils, it says that early phagocytosis and killing of microbes will take place with the help of neutrophils, and macrophages and efficient phagocytosis and killing of microbes, secretion of cytokines, and that stimulate inflammation. So inflammation is not a disease, it's a part of immune response. Natural killer cells, which will help in the lysis of infected cells and activation of macrophages. So here you can see that these circulating effector cells are neutrophils, macrophages, and natural killer cells. And these neutrophils Only phagocytosis and killing of microbes will take place with the help of neutrophils, and macrophages will help in efficient phagocytosis and killing of microbes and secretion of cytokines that stimulate inflammation. Natural killer cells will help in the lysis of infected cells and activation of macrophages. Then we come to the circulating effector proteins, and these circulating effector proteins, first is the complement and mannose binding lectin and C-reactive protein. So complement proteins, they help in the killing of microbes, opsonization of microbes, and activation of leukocytes. So basically, the complement proteins are the proteins which are present in the blood or in serum, and they are in the inactive form. But when there will be trigger, when there will be a foreign microbe, it will enter, then the complement system will become active. So there are about 30 different proteins which are involved in the complement. So this complement system help when it will be activated, it will help in the killing of microbes and opsonization of microbes to increase the chances of their phagocytosis and cleaning and activation of leukocytes. Mannose binding lectin. So mannose binding lectin, opsonization of microbes and activation of complement system, lectin pathway. So there are different pathways, that is classical pathway or antibody mediated pathway of complement activation and lectin pathway and the alternative pathway. So C-reactive protein. C-reactive protein will help in the opsonization of microbes and activation of complement system. Then we come to the cytokines. That cytokines are the signaling molecules which will take signal from one cell and will help in the coagulation process. So tumor necrosis factor, interleukin-1, and chemokines, they will help in the inflammation. Interferon alpha and beta, they will help to develop resistance to viral infection, and interferon gamma will help in the macrophage activation. Interleukin 12, it will help in the production of interferon gamma production by natural killer cells and T cells. And interleukin 15, it will help in the proliferation of natural killer cells, and interleukin 10 and tumor growth factor beta, they will control inflammation. So you can see that there are different components of the innate immunity, that is barriers and circulating effector cells, circulating effector proteins, and cytokines. And then we come to in the barriers, we see that these epithelial layers that will prevent microbial entry, defensins will help in microbial killing, intraepithelial lymphocytes will help in microbial killing, and circulating effector cells in it involve neutrophils and these macrophages and natural killer cells, and they will help in to promote the process of phagocytosis and killing of microbes, and also will stimulate inflammation and will kill infected cells. Natural killer cells will result in the lysis of the infected cells and activation of macrophages, and these circulating effector proteins, that is complement and mannose binding lectin and C-reactive proteins, they will help in the complement activation and opsonization and killing of microbes. And these cytokines will help, for example, this tumor necrosis factor and interleukin-1 and chemokines, they will help in inflammation. Interferon alpha and beta will help to develop resistance to the viral infection, and interferon gamma will help in the macrophage activation, and these interleukin 12 will help in the interferon gamma production by NK cells or natural killer cells and T cells, and interleukin 15 will help in proliferation of natural killer cells and interleukin 10 and tumor growth factor beta will control inflammation. So thank you for joining. So stay tuned. See you then. Goodbye.